Very much, Mr. Deputy President. Please, let's take our seats. Mr. Deputy President, Your Ladyship, Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and President of the Supreme Court, Prime Cabinet Secretary, DCJ, our Attorney General, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Justices of the Supreme Court, Justice Willie Mutunga, Chief Justice Emeritus, Justice Maraga, Chief Justice Emeritus, Madam Nancy Barasa, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Jambo. I'm truly happy to be here this morning. I know you have convened this meeting, as was explained to us, to reflect about 12 years and to listen to stakeholders, people who are affected by your decisions, people who, in one way or another, become part of the court system. And unlike Sakaja, who has never been a client at the Supreme Court, I am a very consistent client at the Supreme Court. I have been brought before Chief Justice Mutunga. I have been brought before Chief Justice Maraga. I was the other day before Chief Justice Kome. And as things would be, sometimes I get favorable judgment, sometimes I don't. But in all cases, I have abided by what the decisions of the Supreme Court were. And therefore, it was, if there was a person to, as a stakeholder, to give an assessment, I think I qualify to be among the few people who have been before the Supreme Court many times. The Chief Justice referred to the 4 presidential elections that have been adjudicated by the Supreme Court. In all the 4, I have been a client. I was in there. And therefore, it is an honor for me to join you in commemorating 12 years since the establishment of Kenya's Supreme Court, an iconic institution that, along with devolution and the Bill of Rights, stands as one of the most transformative innovations in our progressive 2010 Constitution. As Kenya's apex judicial body, the Supreme Court is entrusted with the sacrosanct mandate to uphold and promote the purpose and principles of our constitutional order. By virtue of its unique complement of exclusive, original, appellate, and advisory jurisdictions, it possesses the necessary authority to arbitrate, to advise, and to guide the institutions of our republic as they perform their roles of giving full expression to the will of the people as inscribed in our Constitution. The Supreme Court, therefore, serves a powerful symbolic role as the highest representation of the values and institutions of justice in our land and the fulfillment of people's determined quest for a judiciary grounded in inclusivity, fairness, justice, and constitutionalism. It was designed not merely to interpret law, but also to resolutely underwrite and defend justice for all Kenyans. 14 years after the promulgation of the Constitution, we continue on the journey of implementing the vision for a stable, secure, prosperous, open, and democratic society grounded in freedom, justice, and the rule of law. And central to this monumental endeavor is the Supreme Court, which has guided the judiciary in orienting the national ideology towards the legitimate pursuit of every aspiration and resisting the temptation to compromise our values for the illusion of political expediency, however well-meaning. 12 years after its establishment, it is difficult for us to imagine how the Republic of Kenya existed for many decades without a Supreme Court. It has helped us reject the many false dichotomies that once constrained our policies and politics, including the belief that freedom must be sacrificed for security and that democracy and stability are mutually exclusive, or that sustainable development is the monopoly of the centralized government. You've heard Sakaja speak very eloquently about what the Supreme Court has done on matters devolution. It is therefore fitting that this conference invites us to reflect on the Supreme Court's jurisprudence over the past 12 years. In doing so, we recognize both successes and areas for critique as we consider the court's evolution, its impact on Kenya's constitutional landscape, and its commitment to protecting the rights and aspirations of all Kenyans. True to the court's philosophy, bold honesty is the best policy, and this occasion calls us to reflect candidly on its journey, progress, challenges, and impact. To appreciate the achievement represented by the Supreme Court's creation, we must revisit the hard lessons of the 2007 presidential election crisis. That crisis exposed deep-seated systemic failures and a profound erosion of public trust in our electoral and judicial processes, fracturing the people's trust in the rule of law. Consequently, a disputed election outcome triggered underlying conflicts that nearly drove the nation to the brink of almost total collapse. It was realized then that rebuilding trust and restoring faith in the rule of law was indispensable, and that a credible, authoritative mechanism for resolving presidential election disputes was the only way to prevent elections from threatening